Hi, Elena. How are you? Good. I haven't seen you for a long time. I can't hear you. Um,
Can you hear me, Sunil?
I can now.
Good
And
evening. How are you?
I'm very good. And how are you? I can see your lovely smile as well, which is great. So
Thank you.
everything okay?
Yeah. I'm well, thank you, Sunil.
Good.
Yeah, good.
It's amazing how quickly the years passing by and then we don't see each other or.
That's right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting back into it now.
Yes. Yeah. Have you been unwell for a while or is it
No,
just
not
busy?
really. No, not really. Just super busy
Yeah. Oh,
and not always here, but down in Brighton.
yes.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're traveling between the two.
yeah.
Oh, good. Um, you could help me. Could you see the screen there with some slides?
Yes, I can see slides. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's a good start. So I didn't know if it was going to work. So that's good. Yeah, we just waited for a few more people to join us, and then we'll
Yeah,
get
so
started.
it's just three things that I can see: you, me, and the slides.
That's
Oh,
all we
and
need.
yeah, and Ilham and Ricky are starting to connect.
Oh, brilliant. That's good. Yeah, just gonna.
Oh, Ricky's with us now. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Sunil.
How you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Not seen you for a while. Like I was just saying to Elaine, the year goes by so quick, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
Yeah. Are you still
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Elena. You all right?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Good, good.
Are you still working down this way, down in Margate, or are you still looking, building up the serviced accommodation?
Yeah, we set up another two more in Margate. So we've got three up there now. We've got one in Gillingham as well.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
good.
just
So how many is
managing.
that in total? Have you hit 10 or?
Eight.
Oh, good. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Are they spread out in terms of Margate, Gillingham, and then you've got some up near where you are?
that's right. Yeah, we have. Yeah, we've got four in London and four where I just mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Fantastic.
and I'm buying another property as we speak.
Hmm.
It's in the solicitor's hands at the moment, and that one will be turned into a short-term rental as well.
Yeah. Well, what is it you're buying?
It's a two-bed flat with a short lease, needs a refurb.
Yeah.
So going to renew the lease and carry out a refurbishment to it as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
That's really good.
yeah.
Brilliant. Hi, Daniel. You okay?
Hi everyone, doing good. How is everyone getting on?
Yeah, good. So I missed your call earlier as well, Daniel. I will give you a call later or first thing in the morning.
Perfect.
Yeah, I did send you my slides just in case I wasn't able to get them on the screen, but Elena said that she can see them, so that's good. So yeah, we'll get started in a few minutes. Just give it a couple more minutes. Have you had a busy week, Daniel?
Yeah, just a bit of this, bit of that, really. Nothing to write home about. A little bit annoyed I missed out on the Northern Lights, so I still think it's a bit of a hoax, but I'm not sure if anybody else saw them.
Yeah. Did anybody else see them or?
No, I didn't.
Wow. Well,
Conspiracy.
yeah. Maybe Clive here, Clive and Helen saw them. I mean, no,
No.
no. Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think it hit far as us, the Northern Lights. You know, we're so far down south, aren't we? So
So Neil, what's this meeting about then? Is this something that you do quite often?
yeah. So once a month we have an in-person meeting, which is great. But this one is once a month as well, on the third Wednesday of each month. So sometimes it's like last month, Paul Marrick was here, so we have a guest speaker. Sometimes It's training. Sometimes it's like today, somebody's asked some questions. So I've got to cover those, but sometimes it's about masterminding. So like this evening, the topic is what techniques to use to negotiate a better price with estate agents. But I know you have a lot of experience, so please feel free to contribute as I'm going through, because it's not just one person's opinion or one person's things. It's about experience, isn't it? That we can all share experiences, or questions that may arise as we're going through. So yeah, I mean, you can talk about your last property. How did you find the last property? Did you negotiate? Did you buy an auction or negotiate, or?
But I mean, I actually found this through Rightmove. So it was actually on the open market. It was guided at 225. Like I mentioned earlier, had a short lease, 63 years remaining. Needs a refurbishment. There was a tenant that was actually occupied in the property. And so I began negotiating the price based on what I think it's worth and the amount of work and money that I had to spend to the property and the amount of margin that I wanted, and just work from there. In the end, I got it down to 190 with vacant possession. So it's probably worth about, conservatively in the current market, about 280, 285 done up. So I thought 190 was a fair price.
Yeah, brilliant.
What's the spend on that, Ricky?
So the lease renewal is 35k, and I'm probably going to spend around between 10 and 15k on the refurb. I'm going to get stuck in the refurb myself, project manage it, and try and keep the costs down, and try and do some of the work myself as well, and then call in all the tradespeople if I need an electrician, etc., for the stuff that I can't do. And that's it really. So I'm hoping, and I've taken out a bridge loan out on it. So once I've carried out the refurb, renewed the lease, I will then exit onto a buy to let. But I also agreed that I will renew the lease on completion or just after. So Section 42 notice has already been served. I'll take over that notice. I've already agreed with the freeholder the premium for the lease, and also agreed with the sellers, the current leaseholders, that they'll sign any paperwork relating to the lease so that my solicitor can complete as quick as possible, basically.
Fantastic.
So if you're doing a statutory and the voluntary route, so you're essentially doubling up on costs, but is it just the safety net there that should they renege on the offer, then you have that Section 42 as a backup to know that you don't need to wait the 2 years? Is that why you're going through both processes?
Well, to be honest, I had contact details of the freeholder through the estate agent. And I actually sent an email direct to the freeholder, letting them know that I'm buying the property, and if they could supply some information in regards like the lease renewal and stuff like that. They were a little bit reluctant to talk to me because obviously I'm not the current leaseholder or the owner of the property, but they did give me their renewal fee, what they wanted for the renewal of the lease. And I did say to him that a Section 42 notice will be served, and it'll be assigned to myself, and I'll be carrying on and talk to my solicitor, and that's how it all worked out. So yeah, I'm covered, I guess, both ways. But for me to go down the voluntary route was just to speed up the process, because I could have got a surveyor involved, but it could have taken a lot longer. Then there could have been a point where the freeholder, there might have been negotiations that might have to take place. That could delay it a lot longer as well. So I just decided to go with and I already had a lease renewal in mind after speaking to a few people, and the surveyor himself. So it was there or thereabouts. So I was happy just to go ahead with that,
What sort of lease length was it? And do you use a lease advice calculator or anything like that? How accurate?
I did do that online. And like I said, I also spoke to the surveyor. He gave me an indication what it's going to cost. And then when they sent me the figure, the freeholder, it was actually quite close to it, a few grand more. So I actually agreed 195 on the flat. And because the lease renewal was a few grand more, I actually renegotiated the selling price of the flat down to 190. So I got a 5 grand off just to cover that little bit of an increase. And the seller agreed to go ahead with it, just so that the margin was kept there. Yeah, and that's it really.
Nice, nice. Are you going? How are you going to be saving on the costs? Are you going to be using a company like LMPG for the kitchens, or how are you going to go about that?
To be honest, it's not a huge kitchen. The kitchen's probably only about 2 meters by 2.5 meters. It's not going to cost me a fortune anyway, you know. I'll probably go to Magnet Trade or even Howdens. Sometimes if you can negotiate a good price at Howdens, they price match any other place that may be a bit cheaper as well. So sometimes you just got to play them off with one another, and I'm sure they look after you in the end, you know.
Even at LMPG prices.
To be honest, I don't even have a membership, and I've never had done. I've just also always used local suppliers. It might be worth doing it actually, the amount of refurbs that I do, but I haven't signed up or got a membership for it.
I've never found that it worked for me. I don't know why, because of when we're doing volume, but it's yeah, the other kitchens are quite good, and boilers, etc. So by the time you pay X, Y, and Z, I'm sure that there are people who do make it work with LMPG. So, but it's I haven't. So yeah. Okay. Well, we just turned 4 minutes past 6. So I think if we get started, and as I was just saying to Ricky and Helena as we came on, that please feel free to
Linda,
please feel free to contribute to the discussion that we're having. So I hope you can see slides on the screen. Can you just see the slides, or can you see more?
Yep, all good.
Okay, well, I'm not going to play around with it too much. I think is that, I don't want to mess it up too much. So I'll just get started. And as I said, we can have a discussion as we're going through. It's about experiences, about sharing experiences, because all of our experiences are different, and it's about learning from each other as much as we can. Just for those that you may not know me, I'm a buy and hold property investor. I started off with the first single property, which is always the most important, and that property got me onto a property journey over a period of over 30 plus years. I sometimes wonder when I sit alone and I think, where would I be now if I hadn't bought that first property? And it gives me nightmares to think, well, I may have been working for an employer all my life, or I may have ended up in a different situation, because this property business, or we'll call it what you will, but it's absolutely life-changing in many ways. And we originally get in initially, for most people, get into property in order to buy their first few properties. Buy a few properties, maybe replace an income, but it gives you a lot more than that over time. And as the properties grow, as the experiences grow, as the knowledge grows, it just continues and continues. And yeah, I absolutely love it. And I don't sell my properties. I've built up a portfolio. Some of the properties are, if I can get this to move forward. So they're quite basic. This is a 3-bedroom. So I've got a portfolio in Kent, in Sittingbourne, a few in Reading, a few in London, and these are properties in Stoke-on-Trent. So nothing fancy. The bottom one there is 2-bedroom terrace property. The one with the driveway on the left-hand side, 3-bedroom, nice property, and the one at the top, 4-bedroom house in Stoke-on-Trent. And then we've got little commercial units as well. We find that the commercial units are very good. Because it's people wanting to start up a business and they want somewhere else, so they can be quite cheap in terms of buying, because not everybody wants them, but the rates are low if it does become empty. So there are opportunities with that as well. So I moved from, I've still got the portfolio of the properties, but then I moved into conversions. This was a conversion of 9 flats, which has a whole new story that I could tell you. We built the 9 flats. There was 3 entrances, one at the front, one at the side, and one at the rear. The rear entrance actually allowed us, it was entrance to 5 flats our neighbours who moved from the church next door prevented us from using that entrance, and it became a legal thing. So we've just decided after 2 or 3 years, we've just put our own entrance in on the other side. So as I say, that's a whole story on its own. But yeah, that's been all finished, etc. So developments go on. So we have an estate agency that services all our properties, all our tenants, plus landlord properties, and we do sales as well for sales of properties for landlords, commercial, residential, anything like that. So property management is a big part of our business, because it's just become that because of the number of properties we have, we need to go and inspect. We have call outs. So we have 3 property managers who look after just short of 600 properties, mainly in Kent, but some in Stoke-on-Trent, as I mentioned before. So one of the questions that we've been asked recently quite on Clubhouse, as well as in other forums, is what techniques do you use to negotiate a better price with agents? If you've got any comments and you want to join in, as I said, you can feel free to do that. Right at the top of the bat, it is about, as we've always said, know, like, and trust. So it's getting to a point where an agent gets to know you, and how do they do that? You've got to be out there, you've got to fill in the forms, you've got to get on their databases. Knowing that they like you, as in, that can be built up by turning up for the viewings, making sure that you do what you're going to say, and that leads to trust. The trust part comes when you're going to actually complete a transaction and see it through very, very smoothly. So they're not going to trust. An agent is not going to trust you until a completion of a sale takes place. And I think I say that hand in heart, that they're not going to, I don't think most people will trust you. I think it's the first one is they'll get to know you as a customer or an inquiry. Then if you're doing everything correctly, then they may think, oh yeah, we'll give them a call. But the point that the trust comes and you get onto somebody's database at a different level is when you've completed a transaction. So if it's a small property, let's say 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, it's the same principle. I purchased a ex-school in 2019. It was on at 1.5 million, and I bought it for 1 million because I negotiated. No, it wasn't about the price in that situation. It was about them. It was a charity and they wanted certainty of certain things. Now that agent knows that I've been able to deliver and I've completed on the transaction, they are much more, oh, I've got this property, I know you buy this sort of thing. So they'll come forward, and then the leads are coming to you rather than you going to look for property. So these are just some of the things that I've looked at, is doing your research. Like Ricky was saying, he knew what the end value of the property was going to be. So the local market, Kent is a big area, and I could work in Kent, but I work in a very small area in Sittingbourne, in Sheerness, and I keep it local. Number one, it gives me, I know the areas, I know the streets, I know the good parts, I know the bad parts, and it's the prices. More importantly, people get to know you. So that's the key, is people to get to know you. So knowledge will give the leverage about the negotiation. So if an agent is saying, well, I'll price this at this property at this price, they may have priced that property in order to get it onto the market, because there's always competitions. Would you agree? There's always competition between estate agents. So that agent may have said, I'll tell you what, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'll put it on at £5,000 more. And then we can always reduce it because they want to get that sale on. So if you come in and you don't know the values of the property, then you may end up paying that little bit more. It's not wrong to pay more, because people are always saying about looking for below market deals. I've also paid more for property that I've wanted because, again, it was local and I knew I was going to make money from it. So I didn't want to lose the deal. So I've actually paid more than the asking price. But again, that was about a negotiation, as I will pay more, but I want to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere else, that we get it. So the negotiation is not always about reducing price. It could be about getting the deal that you want, the term you're going to build on it. Building relationship, establishing good relationship with estate agents, being respectful, professional and friendly can go a long way. Now, in this situation, I don't mean you have to wear a suit and tie. I do because it's my brand, because it's the estate agency that we're in, and it's the profession and what the expectations in our industry of the estate agency industry are. But for example, Ricky, is here. He looks professional, always smart. He dresses smartly. He doesn't have a suit and tie, but he looks smart, friendly, clean, etc. So that people then warm to people. Building grid. So is there any questions at all at the moment, or shall I carry on? I'll take that as I'll carry on. So building rapport can lead to insider information. So once you get to know the estate agent, building that rapport, going for viewings. In the earlier days, the estate agents like down the road used to call me and say, they're all paid on commission and they're targeted, especially the nationals. They're targeted, national companies. They're targeted. The agent is targeted. And if they don't hit their target, they're going to be out of a job. So you may need to do them a favor. If they phone you up and say, Daniel, would you just go and view this property for me because I need to show my boss that I've got viewings, then go. Because, when you need the property later, another property, they will remember that and they will acknowledge that, because that month they may be having a real bad month, they may be under pressure, and they may need to get a certain amount of viewings, especially, as I say, on a national base, on companies that are national. And just that you helped them out, they will remember you. So the next time that you're looking for a property, you'll be at the top of their list. Does that make sense by a show of hands? Okay. Understanding the situation of the seller is so important. So finding out what the seller is looking for is not always about money. And I don't know if you agree with me. It's not always about the money, because sometimes it's about they're in a situation. We have situations at the moment where a couple are selling a property, husband and wife, they've divorced, they've been separated for a number of years, and they need to sell the property in order to finalize divorce settlements, etc. Yes, they needed the money, but their motivation was, I don't want to talk to him, and he's saying, I don't want to talk to her. So the agent becomes the middle person, has to get instructions from both parties. They are looking for the best price, but they're also looking for peace of mind. They're also looking for this cloud that's been hanging over them to come to an end. So knowing that information is asking, and if a vendor says, if a person is asking, well, why is the property empty? How long has it been empty? The agent has to provide correct material information. Now, that could be that they cannot share private stuff, but they could be saying things like, yeah, the property doesn't need to be sold, or yes, the seller will consider an offer on this. So it's asking different questions to get the motivation, which is so important going forward. So time and timing can be more important than money. In a situation where somebody may be losing their property or they need to sell, they will take your offer at a lower price because it prevents them being repossessed and having bad credit and having to pay more money. So it's again finding out, or trying to find out, that information. Well, one of the ways to do that is you may go and see the property with an agent. You then may go around to that property without the agent at different times. You may bump into a neighbour, and neighbours are fantastic to give you information. My brother-in-law, he's great. He'd go and view a property, and then he'd go knock on a neighbour's doors. Hi, I'm thinking of buying in this area, or hi, my name's Steve. Could you tell me something about the property? And the amount of times that the neighbour just goes, oh, you know what? This, and this happened here. Yeah, missed that they were there, and now they've gone somewhere else, and they don't even know who you are. It's just the fact that you've knocked and you've asked, and etc. etc. People are willing to share information, and they're also looking for good neighbours, of course. So if you're a friendly person, as I know most of you are here, all of you, then again, that's going to go a long way to getting that information, and then knowing that they're going to be good and good neighbours, etc. Determining your limits and being prepared to walk away, because estate agents negotiate all day. So they know how to negotiate. They will say, oh, we have other offers, which can be true. They do have other offers. That offer, they may say to you, you know, John, we have another offer on the table. They haven't said that it's actually 10 grand off your offer or 10 grand below your offer. They've just said, we have another offer on the table, which they're not saying anything incorrect. They're actually telling you the truth. They're just not telling you where that offer is. If that offer was good, they would have accepted it, correct? If that where they needed to be. So be prepared to walk away from a decision or from an offer, because it may just help you. Highlighting your strengths is so important. So it's saying, you know, we've got the money, we've got a proven track record. I brought so-and-so property just up the road through this agent, and you know that's been rented out now. So it's telling your story, using the information so that it gives the agent confidence. The other situation with agents is that sometimes they have staff turnover, and the young agents may not know what to say to the vendor or the property owner. So it's feeding them that line and saying, please tell your vendor, the owner of the property, that, you know, I'm in a really good situation. I'm an investor. I've already bought properties. I'm looking to buy more, and you know, I will complete on this deal, etc., etc. So that person's got some lines that they've got. You're planting the seed into their mind of what to say to the owner. Just give me a raise of your hand if that makes sense. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Negotiate other terms. Now, this is an important one, because sometimes we're negotiating on price, but if the price is, if they're looking for something else, then completion date may be important to them, etc., etc. So your price may be determined by other factors. So in 2009, we brought our family home, which is in Hayes, which is in Middlesex, near Heathrow. So we went to see this property on the 28th.
What are you looking at that just because you have your own food?
Sorry, I don't know who that is, but yeah, if you could just mute yourself, that'd be fantastic. So we went to see the property on the 28th of October. I know that date because it's my wife's birthday, and we went to see the property that we now live in. The important thing is that other people had looked at this property. We knew as soon as we got there, we were looking for property for 2 years. Knowing that we were in the property business, it took us 2 years to find the ideal home that we wanted, and because we wanted, of course, live there long term. So we started negotiating on price, but during the conversation, we have found out that they were actually going to go into a new build property. That was the key. They didn't know when the property was going to be built. So they couldn't sell their home, and they didn't know when it was going to complete. So we negotiated the price, and we then said to them, look, we don't need to move in at the moment. So if you agree our price, what we will do is we will complete. So you've got the money, you've got the certainty, and we will rent it back to you. So we rented it to them for 6 months. Because they took 6 months, and it was a month-to-month contract because they didn't know when the house was going to be finished. So knowing the information, we got the right price, we got our terms met, and we were happy to stay where we were. And we became very good friends with the people who sold us the property, etc., etc. So it's knowing those things about the situation that's really going to be of helpful. This is key, using silence to your advantage. Through the estate agency here at Family Homes, what we do get is that people will give us an offer in the morning, and within 2 hours, they'll phone us up and say, has my offer been accepted? So we know that they are a motivated purchaser. Has my offer been accepted? After 2 hours. It takes us a little while to get to the owner of the property, We need to validate the offer to make sure they've got the right, the money's there. We may ask them questions. There may be other offers on the table. So when somebody starts asking, has my offer been accepted? Because they get, once that offer's been, it's a situation when that offer's been made, they want to get it accepted. But the silence is key there, because it will take time, because people are working, so the owners may not come back. And we've also had owners of properties, quite rightly, who we've given an offer on a Friday, and they'll say, we're going to take the weekend to think about it. And of course, it's their property, it's their decision. It may be a big decision, and they've got every right to think about it. So calling the agent is about the offer that you've made is not always a good idea. Best idea is to put the offer in and leave it, and let them come back, because they have a duty to present that legal duty to present the offer to the vendor within 24 hours of actually receiving the offer. Now, that 24 hours can be a little bit flexible, because they can say, oh, we were validating the offer, we were doing this, but it's great to be able to go back to a vendor and say, we've actually got 2 offers on the table, and this is what it is. So be prepared to walk away from negotiations, know where your limits are. And often the situation is that if you walk away, the deal may come back, because something may have happened. So if it's, that old saying, if it's meant to be, it will be. So know your limit, and then, be prepared to walk away on that basis. So renegotiation after agreement. But by sort of, if you could put a 1 in the chat, if you think it's right to negotiate the price just before exchange, a 1 in the chat if it's right to negotiate the price just before exchange, or a 2 in the chat if you think that's not ethical or not right. Adela's absolutely right. Negotiating a price, if you're looking for your brand, or you're looking to be the person that the estate agent phones up in the future, when they get a property, you've got to make their life easy for them. You've got to, not be the problem that they have to incur, because when you negotiate the price just before exchange, because it's smart, they have to go and present that offer to their person, to the owner of the property. They also may be losing commission slightly. They may also lose the whole deal. So there's a lot of stress involved in that part. But there is a time, like the slide says, is that if you've got a valid reason to negotiate, that you didn't have that information when you made the offer, then you would say, at the time of making the offer, this is the offer I made. However, more information has come to light since I've had my valuation, and as a result of that, I'm going to incur these costs. That is valid.
I have a question.
Yes, certainly.
Yes, I have a question. So after you offer the price and then reach to the agreement, and then you can renegotiate to lower the price, or I'm confused?
No, you're absolutely correct. So that until the exchange of contracts and where it becomes legally binding, you can negotiate the price, the date, everything. So it's how it's done, as in, you don't want to negotiate. You don't want to negotiate the price just because you think, well, at the beginning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this price in. I'm going to get so far down the road, and then I'm going to negotiate the price, because that people remember that situation. So if you've got no valid reason to then go, okay, I would like a lower price, then all you're doing is you play the game of making sure it's so far down the road that everybody's invested their time and money and then negotiated. Does that answer your question?
I'm not still, it's not clear to me.
So you can pull out of a transaction, you can negotiate.
Because you already reached the agreement for the price you offered. and they agree, that the seller agree with your price. And before contract, before you sign up, you still can renegotiate to lower the price. That's
Correct.
what you're saying.
Correct.
Oh, isn't it to make it uncertain and quite risky to lose the whole, contract? Or
Yeah, so I think it's about being ethical and professional, because other people are banking on the money, or they've made plans if they're going to sell the property and go somewhere else. That everybody's made a plan, so it's always good to make an offer, get it agreed, and stick to what you said. But there may be occasions, because of new information, that you want to negotiate the price.
I
But
see.
it's like
Is there any time limit if you are moving, or the handling a key date is within a month? Do you still negotiate?
Yeah, the reason I put this in there is because I've known people to go. I've done it myself in the earlier days, just before exchange of contracts. You'd phone them up and say, look, can you negotiate the price? And they do it because they've already made plans, or they're going to buy another property, or something's going to happen. But it's not a clever situation, or it's not good. If you hear what I'm saying, is that if you're going to build trust long term with agents, with other people, if it's karma, whatever the situation is make an agreement and then stick to it. Then people will, of course, trust you for the next transaction. Otherwise, they're going to see, they will remember, last time, just on the day of exchange, this person did this, and we then had to manage the situation. Yeah. So it's more about, if you've got a valid reason, then do it as soon as you get the new information, and provide the valuation report, because you've got nothing to hide. This valuation said this, there you are. That's great. I didn't know that information at the time, but I do now. So that is the key on that. If the information comes across at the beginning, or as soon as it can, rather than just on the day of exchange, and then you're trying to get a little bit off. Just on that point.
Okay, sorry. Is the information provided by the seller, or the third party's information is also okay or good? And
the information may come when you've had a valuation. So it may say, oh yeah, it needs a new roof, or it has damp, or it has something that you may not be aware of, and only a professional like John Parker here, who's a valuer, would spot certain things. I can see you thinking, so I'm going to wait. If you,
can I give an example?
Yeah, please, Ricky. Great.
So basically, I bought a property and agreed a price of 330,000. All agreed at the beginning. Seller agreed, agent agreed, I agreed, and it all went ahead. I then booked a surveyor to go into the property, and then the surveyor's report came back that the property's actually got damp in the property, just what Sunil was saying, and that I had to get an independent damp report done, which I did. And so I called Kenwood. They came round, done a survey, and they said to rectify all the damp works in the property on the ground floor, the property is going to cost you around £5,000. And they gave me a report saying it's going to cost you £5,000 to sort out all the damp work. And I used that report to go back to the estate agent to say, look, this cost is unexpected. I wasn't aware of it. Can I renegotiate the price based on the fact that I now need to spend an extra £5,000 on rectifying the damp issue? And because I've got that evidence and report, the seller agreed to reduce the price by 5K. Now, there's a difference between you agreeing a price with the estate agent and the seller at, say, 200,000, and then the last minute, say the day before you can exchange contracts, you play a dirty one and say, look, I'm going to offer you 20 grand less, otherwise I'm not buying it. By then, the seller's already agreed the price, the agent's agreed the price with you, you've already invested your time and money, but you will come across like you're doing a little bit of a dirty trick, and they might be desperate to sell. They might even let you have the 20K off because they're desperate to sell, but it will look bad on you, basically. And that agent might not ever want to deal with you again because of what you've done, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Ricky, and thank you for coming in there. It says that agent is that you're going to build up a long-term relationship with them. So especially if you live in a small town like I do, and you know, yes, we have an estate agency now, but before we had this, we have relationships with all the agents, and you know, the reason we got some of the properties is because they knew that we would complete. So if we said we're going to complete on that property at that time, then we would see it through. Even if sometimes if we found a problem, go, don't worry about it, we'll sort it out, because we knew that the longer term, the things would come through. With one of the agents, it was building up a trust, and that agent did really, really well, because they'd phone us as soon as that property came on the market. That agent would call me and say, oh, so now we've got this property, do you want to come and have a look? So I'll be in the door straight away. Other agents where you've completed, completion of properties quickly for them is the key. So just dealing with agents in a summary way, I just got 4 points there, 3 points. I think long term, it's about building relationships, not a single deal. In the early days, when you're getting into your first 2, 3, 4 properties, it may be, oh no, I've got to get the deal. And I remember one deal I didn't get many years ago for £500, and I walked past that property. At that time, it was 300. Sorry, it wasn't 300. It was 35,000, and they wanted 35,500. And I thought, oh, you know, they're just trying to push me for the £500. That property is now worth 300 grand. So certainly increased over a great period of time, and the rental income that would have achieved and all of those things. So yeah, I do look back on things and think, yeah, why did I hold back? It was simple. At that time, I didn't have £500 to part with. So we can understand that, but it's more about building that long-term relationship. So going into the deal and making sure it's done. One of the things is that agents are busy. It can be stressful. There can be high start turnover, etc., etc. So it's making it simple for them, providing all the required information as quickly as possible. So we've had people through our office and they say, I'd like to buy this property. This is our offer. And we know that offer's right. So it's okay, that's brilliant. What we need to do is just collect some ID like everybody does. Of course, every time you buy a mobile phone, you get ID, don't you? Yeah. Could you provide me with your ID? Well, why do I need to provide you with my ID? I'll provide it to my solicitor. Yeah, I know, but we are part of border control. As an agent, we're first line. We need that information because we have to do the checks as well. If they're reluctant, and that's an extreme example, and I'm not saying it, if they're reluctant to give information, we know there's going to be a problem going along the chain, going along the line. So we don't want to get into those things. You may say to an agent, yeah, I'll provide my passport tomorrow, but if you've already got it and you can say, yeah, can you give me your email address? I'll send you all my details as quickly as possible. What you're doing is you're making their life easier, and that is the key. If you can make the agent's life easier, and I don't mean you can make my life hard because I'm the business owner, I get paid a certain amount of money, I take whatever comes. But if you're looking at somebody maybe 15, 20 pounds an hour, then I think closer to 15 than 20, certainly in this area, and they're being paid a commission. What they're doing is they want to get that sale through as quickly as possible to go on to the next one. And to do that, and it doesn't matter if they show one person or 20 people, they're going to get the same commission. So if they can phone you and say, hi, John, Ricky, how you doing? I've got this property for you. I know it's right up your street. Do you want to come and have a look? They don't want to call the other 19 people. They just want to make life as easy as possible. And I think, yeah, just make their life easier. Now you'll get the deals coming through. It's all about building your brand, so you become the go-to person. So when they get a new instruction, they've just promised the owner of the property that they're going to sell that property. They've agreed a price, and they're saying things like, we have people waiting for this property in this area. So if it and yeah, we have people waiting for this area. So they can't phone if they go through weeks and weeks without sending anybody or doing viewings. Of course, they're going to lose that business. So if they've got you as a client, especially on buy-to-let investments or whichever your market is, they'll be phoning up and saying, "Hi, Ricky, I've got another one of those SA units that I know you're interested in Margate. So I just thought of you first. Do you want to come and have a look?" Ricky says, "Yeah, I'll be down there this afternoon." So he gets down there and he does the deal before anybody else has had to go through the door. Why? Because they know you, they know what he's done, they know that he will deliver on his promises. So it's about seeing things through and being the person that they're going to phone. So you have to be the person that they're going to phone. So if you just say, I'm looking for a certain, I'm just looking for a 2-3 bedroom house, you have to be very specific with the agent so they remember you and say, this is what you're looking for, where it is, etc., etc. I was going to put something here on gifts and things like that. It's okay to give a gift to a small value after exchange or completion to say thank you. If you're trying to offer money to an agent, I know most agents won't take it. We get offended by people trying to say, "Oh, do you want to take, do you want to take this or that?" Because we're just not interested. And most agents are not, because it's their brand, it's their reputation, etc., etc. And we have procedures in our estate agency that if people are offered, then we would not deal with that client because, again, it affects us going long term. So gifts are okay. Other parts are not, depending on which part. I don't know, what other agents do, but I know we have strict rules, etc. Any questions on those bits? Any comments, any shares? Please feel free to unmute and share. Stella, shall we take your question now? Would you like to unmute and talk to us?
Can I go?
Yes, certainly. And then we're going to go to Della.
All right, cool. Yeah, I was just going to ask, when you've put an offer in,
Yeah.
how long should you wait, ideally, before you start chasing? Because sometimes what we found is that you put an offer in and it's probably a low offer, to the estate agent and to the vendor, and they've got other offers on the table, but they just never get back to you. And then you're wondering, should I go back? Should I call them? Should I just be patient? But then you're seeing other properties. You don't know if to carry on, with other properties or just call them back to sort of like find out, what's going on with the offer. So what would you advise?
Sammy, it's a fine line, depending on when that offer went in terms of the week. If it goes in at the beginning of the week, then if you're thinking that person has got to get a hold of the owner, and it could be husband and wife who are both working, and they're going to have a discussion about that offer before they come back to you. So I would leave it 48 hours and then go back to them rather than within the same day, because I've had people have come in on the same day and you think, okay, that's interesting that they are phoning on back on the same day. So I'd give it 48 hours and then just say, I put my offer in. Do you need any other information? So I wouldn't say, has my offer been accepted? I wouldn't say, has my offer been rejected? Is, do you need any other information? They may then turn around and say, well, actually, yes, we'd like to know is, where is the deposit coming from? Or, do you have finances already in place? Do you have a solicitor in place? So they may ask you a few more questions. So I think it's offering what information that you have, or what information they would like to make sure that your deal goes through. They may then turn around and say, actually, yeah, I'm glad you called because I was going to call you. We've presented the offer, we're just waiting for them to come back. Or, are you looking to increase your offer at all? Then that's your opportunity. And if they say, are you looking to increase your offer? I would say, can you just give me a little while? I'll come back to you. Because if you do it straight away, again, they may think, yeah, this is good. Let me try again. So I'd say, give me an hour or two. Let me work my figures out. I thought I'd made the best offer I could, but let me work my figures out. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line, because I know once I've made an offer and I want that property, I do get anxious after making the offer. I get anxious, not so much now, but I did, in terms of I've made that offer, and then you're just waiting for that phone call. But if you're showing that you're motivated, is that going to be them saying, you know, yeah, is that your best price? Can you give us a bit more? All agents are, you know, there's good and bad in every industry, isn't there? So it depends on which agent you're dealing with. So that,
Yeah, hi.
yeah,
I have a question. Yes, the 10B, the agents are busy. And then I know that some of the agents have a subordinate, and then, you know, 2 or 3 as a team working for me. And then during a negotiation, it's not verbal, written negotiation, and they said yes to the negotiation. They said they could get won the negotiation simply. But later on, you find out in the written agreement that was not true. So it's hard to build the relationship. Or should I pushing renegotiate or declare or say right, or it's not there? What happened?
I think from what I'm understanding, I think it's always about thinking long term and building that relationship. Okay, I said before about the agents have a turnover, or the team may leave, etc. But if your name is on their database, then that may be that they will remember you. The other tip that I probably haven't put on here, which I should do, is if you're dealing with an independent like we are, we're not a part of a national company or anything. This is just one branch, one office. The business owner is often here in the morning and in the evening, or after the team have gone home, maybe for an hour or so, or etc. It's just the way it is. If you talk to the business owner and say, and build up a relationship with that business owner, again, that business owner is going to be able to say to their team, oh, I had, you know, John in here last week, and yeah, well, if you get any properties like this, give John a call. So their boss has told them to give John a call. So now John's getting a call because their boss has told them. So you need to build that relationship with the business owner, if you can. And independents are great, because that's the other, you know, you're going to be able to build a better relationship, I believe, with independents than with corporates. But I have brought a lot of properties through corporate companies as well, like your Man & Co and people like that.
Because it's, for example, it's more specifically asking for the furniture should be included, and then later on you find out it's not included, and then you have to add up the cost more than £10,000, and then it's,
yeah. There's a property fixtures and fittings list, and that property fixtures and fittings list, the owner of the property fills it in. I'm including the curtains in the bedrooms. I'm including the carpets. I'm including the oven, the range cooker, or I'm including, people have one or twice, not through here, but people have had they've included a car, because somebody said, oh, I like your car in the driveway. If you chuck that into the deal, I'm happy to pay you the price. And they were saying jokingly, but they ended up doing the deal, which is fantastic. And they, I can't even I can't remember the full story about what the car, but it's included in the fixtures and fittings list, so it becomes part of the transaction. Now, if it's not included in that fixtures and fittings list, then it's not yours. So they could take out, if the light switches are not included or whatever, then they could take them out, or light fittings, they could be removed, and then you would have no comeback. The one thing I would say is to check on the contract, is that if you're buying vacant possession, you are buying vacant and the property has been cleared of all personal items. Now, many years ago, it was written in a contract that the property must give us vacant possession and be clear of any personal items and rubbish. That clause has saved me thousands and thousands of pounds, because I went to this property, I collected the keys from the estate agent, and the whole of the front room was full of tyres. Yeah, 4 tyres high all the way across. And we basically phoned up and said, I'm not taking this property. If you do not clear this, we will hold you for breach of contract because you have not done your side. So if you don't put that in, that's from a legal point of view, it's not contracted. They could leave their rubbish and you would have no comeback. So yeah.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes, certainly. So in the contract, the sales contract, it's ensuring that if you are purchasing, that your solicitor has put a clause in there, and a clause is only a sentence that's in the contract, that you are buying vacant possession, and that all personal items and any rubbish belonging to the current or has been removed from the property on the day of completion. We've had this situation recently where somebody's come back to us and said, yeah, we're happy to pay, it was 320 grand, we were happy to pay that, but we don't want to, you know, the property, the rubbish must be cleared. The rubbish was £1,000 to clear. The owner of the property said, well, you saw it sold as seen and I'm not backing down. She lost the sale and then sold the property again for 20 grand less. So it's looking at it, but just make sure the contract included in that, and then ask if you're not sure, just ask your solicitor to go, yeah, will they remove all their personal items anywhere in the property, because you want a clean property, you don't want to collect somebody else's rubbish. So yeah, hope that makes sense, and I hope that answered the question. Tammy, are you okay?
Yeah, so I was just I'm just gonna check that. So on that note, if the contract did say that it's gonna be empty and all of that, does that then mean that prior to completion, it's advisable to maybe go in a week before you complete, just to ensure that that's, you know, going to be the case, or is already the case before you complete?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. When is the legal binding contract? At what point in the transaction is the legal binding contract?
So is that on exchange?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just before exchange, before exchange, you would go on the day and you'd phone, and we get it now. Solicitors will advise their clients that please call the estate agent, please go to the property and have a look. I'm talking about vacant properties to start with. Please go and look at that before you exchange. Always good to do that. If it's somebody living there, then as long as it's in the contract, you're covered, because if they're living there, they're not, even if you go a week before, everything's going to be in the property, isn't it? So the only time it will be clear is when they've actually moved out. Does that make sense, Sammy?
Yeah.
It's when you collect the keys and you go in there, we as an agent also go and sometimes check the property, because we don't want the issues. Although we are an estate agency, is a marketing company, we don't want the issues of a bad reputation or anything like that. And we don't want to cause our new purchaser any issues. Our new purchaser, what are they going to be one day, hopefully? They're going to become the seller. So if we've done a good job, we kept in contact, they will become the seller. So they will sell that property and think, oh yeah, I brought through family home, so I'm going to go back to them. So again, it's important to build that relationship right up at the front. So we do go and check the properties. And if something happens and our guys haven't checked the properties, they go, well, have you checked the property? No, well, that's, you know, if you had, this would have been avoided. So yeah. William, shall I take your question? Thanks for coming with a question, and thanks for coming on this evening.
Yeah, actually, I don't have a question, but you were explain very detailed about how can we trust about millionaire property, but I just giving a comment to you, but no one that any method
Could you repeat that for me, please? William, are you okay? I just lost a little bit of translation there, signal. Could you just repeat that for me?
Seems to be frozen at the moment, Sunil. I can't hear him either.
Could you tell me what he said, Daniel?
No, he's frozen.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. So, Dilla, did you want to unmute and ask, just contribute to your question, or?
Yeah, it was just
Thank you.
recently bought a property and I'm going to be flipping it. So it's kind of trying to decide who I give it back to. I had no issues with the agent I bought it through. So it's just when you're talking about relationships that actually if I gave it back to them to sell, then might they in the future think, oh, let's give Della this property. She might bring it back to us again.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly in a tough market where it's difficult to get instructions, there's so much competition.
Yeah.
You know, if they can get a commission to start with and a commission the second time, I think it's great advice, Della, to go. What you're saying is, you know, I brought the property from you. You know, I want to work with you on a longer term basis. You know, let me give this back to you. What's your best rate? And I'm sure they'll come back with a good rate for you, because you're showing loyalty, aren't you?
Yeah.
And that's good. And it's about giving back. And sometimes we get we're a large lettings company rather than a sales. So our main business is lettings, and we're very strong in the local market because you know we say we're landlords, so we know how you feel. We know how the lettings industry. We've been doing this a long time. So when they buy an investment property from us, we're looking for the carry-on letting business if possible.
Right. Yeah.
If it goes to another agent, you think that's interesting. Why did it go to another agent? What could we have done? And it's so that business continuing. I think it's really good advice. I know it's a question, but I think you know that there's also that it's right to give back.
Yeah. But you need to open a branch in Ashford, Sunil, please.
Yeah, if you find somewhere, I'm sure we could work together.
Yeah.
I mean, I could never work out people sometimes, but so a guy came in about 5 years ago, and he said that just down the road from our offices, he's got his home, and he's got some land there, and he wanted to do a conversion and make some flats and etc. And he'd been to the other agents that day, and they said, oh, when it's completed, please come back to me, and we'll be able to market the property for rental from you. So we're the last agent on the street. He comes into here, so yeah, come in, have a cup of coffee. Yeah, we can do this for you. Let me show you. So I introduce him to an architect, a planner. He gets his planning permission. He gets the property. He develops the property. We keep in contact for 3-4 years.
Wow.
And then our percentage was around 9-10%. He went to another agent for 7%. And there's a point where I go, well, yeah, I can't go to 7% because the level of service I'm going to give you is not what the national agent is going to give you. So again, you know, Mr. Landlord, I have my own properties in City Bonds. I have my own tenants. So when the other agents go home and I go home, the phones transfer to my mobile. So, or we have a system where they can text me and say, I've got a leak, etc., and I get somebody else. So 24 hours a day, you know, somebody is manning that phone. We don't get that number of calls in a year, but the day that they need it, they know it's there. But that particular gentleman went, and I think, well, what could I have done apart from increase the percentage or reduce my percentage? But yeah, it's the level of service, I suppose. But yeah, but giving back, I think it is a great idea, Della, absolutely, because are they looking for ongoing lettings business? They're going to remember you to say, yeah, they gave me business back, and you've got that more contact, haven't you, and that longer term situation.
They did give me the lowest revaluation though, so that's the only downside.
No, but I'm sure if they've got more properties, they'll come back and go, you know,
Yeah.
do something.
Okay, thank you.
So you're still expanding, still buying?
Yes, trying.
Brilliant, excellent. I think William is back, so should we go to William and see if I can? Are you
Yeah.
okay, William?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, William.
Sorry for my connection issues, but I would like to give feedback about this event, but about this method would be perfect. So because there are any failed moment when they like to invest, but it seems all failed because of situation and condition, and you must trust about tech agent that you can deal with them, and you can build your brand and trust your brand with them. So they like invest to you. They like to buy your properties. So properties are also raising above this price every day because properties is under very precise about price, about salary. So yeah, yeah, just giving a comment. Thank you. Yeah.
Could you summarize your question? If there was it a question or?
No, I don't have question. I just giving a comment. Thank you.
Okay. Is it? Does anybody have any comments or any questions, or please feel free to unmute because I can't always see the hand raised. So just unmute and freestyle. It's okay.
I think the point you were talking about earlier about speaking to neighbours is, you know, very valid. You know, there's been times when I'm looking at properties in new areas that I'm not too familiar with, and you know, just turning up early, you know, before the viewing, and you know, just scouting out the street and speaking to people walking by. You know, you get a good feel for the, you know, the area. Like for instance, you know, one particular property, they said, okay, it's a bit rough around, you know, the corner here at such and such time, such and such date. And there was actually structural stuff on that particular property too. And she was even able to give me the breakdown of when it happened. You know, it was during the drought or this time, this, that, and other. So, you know, just very good point that you made earlier that, you know, just speaking to neighbours and the locals, you get so much more information, especially, you know, in that aspect. But of course, if you wanted to know and back up also, you know, if you wanted to rent out a property in the area, speaking to multiple agents, letting in the area, you know I've done that before, where saying I'm looking at to purchase this property in such and such street. I can see you've let a few properties down here. What's your experience been? And you know, have you had any issues, that type of thing? So yeah, very, very good point that you mentioned there earlier.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Yeah, local community, neighbours, etc., are so important. There's a lady that's we own some flats just in Sittingbourne, and this lady used to come in to the office. Oh, this has happened, and you know, the kids were there, and I used to try and avoid her. And it's wrong because you know this lady was, she's elderly. She'd go around picking up the rubbish. She'd, you know, make sure my tenants knew what the bin day was, and I didn't know all these things. And then one day I spoke to her, and heart of gold, absolutely lovely lady. You know, she just cares about the community. And I couldn't work out why I was like, you know, I don't want to speak to her because I think she came with problems. So I went down to the local cafe for lunch today with one of my colleagues from the office, and we, you know, and she happened to be there, and I just said, oh, I'll buy her lunch as well, you know. And it wasn't a great expenditure for anybody, but she was like, no, I'm not having that. But she was an absolutely lovely lady. So yeah, getting to know your neighbours, certainly when you're out of area, is key as well. So you know, if we've had a neighbour who's called, neighbours are called up when they've had issues or something, we make sure we go around there and see them. You know, because Stoke-on-Trent's 3.5 hours away. Who's my best person? Because it's the neighbours, isn't it? Sorry, we don't want to, you know, we didn't want to disturb you as neighbours. We always try and find the best tenants, but yeah, we really appreciate you phoning, because sometimes they're worried about phoning, and then when you're a certain way, they go, "Oh, it's okay, I can phone up." That's great. So I think, Fami, did you have a question on there, or was your hand
Yeah, yeah.
I'd love to see you if you put your camera on.
Yeah, I'm just tucking under my duvet. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for
Yeah,
listening anyway.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great, but I thought to just join the meeting tonight anyway. But yeah, so the other question I've got is around how people generally navigate when you put in an offer and they've asked you to provide your ID, your proof of deposit, and the proof of funds. So now the other ones, obviously, proof of deposit, that's fine. I can provide that. But in terms of when you're using bridging finance, you generally don't get any sort of like agreement in principle for that. So how can you sort of like convince the estate agent that, you know, you're going to be able to get the bridging finance and it wouldn't be an issue?
So, so I put on here, on this slide here, about putting your offer in writing, and I think it's part, I don't know, somebody's could you just unmute yourself for a minute so everybody can hear? Thank you. So just put on, in order to answer your question, your previous question is about putting your offer in writing, and as I said before, is that everybody gets busy, etc., etc. What did you mean in terms of the offer? So putting your offer in writing and stating your situation, as in, I'm either a first-time buyer, or I've been buying properties for X number of years, or whatever that situation is, in a positive way, that, you know, I'm in a good position. I have nothing to buy at the moment. If that's the situation, I'm ready to go, and it's putting that into a letter, stating the offer that you're making, and proof of funds. Now, the proof of funds, if you're getting a bridging finance that won't give you a decision in principle, then you may need to speak to somebody like Amit, who was going to be here this evening, and he was going to be talking about the pros and cons of using bridging finance. But there are other bridging agents out there that will do that, and they will provide some sort of proof of funds for you, showing your bank statements, again being open and saying that this is the information I have, if there's anything else you need. In the letter that I write, and if it doesn't matter if it's a £1,000, £100,000 property, and it goes up to £1 million, the details, your solicitor details, so they're not having to come and ask you. They have to do ID checks. They're providing your ID in the letter, you know, behind your passport and everything else. Because, as I say, if an agent is busy and they've got two offers identical, they're going to go, well, I'm going to waste time here, but this one's nice and easy. They've given me all the information. I've got their ID, so I don't have to phone them. I've got their solicitor's details. Now I can get it agreed and move to the next stage, and either go for my lunch and, you know, or I'm going to be able to get onto my next deal. Depends what they're doing. So, I mean, I think it's that if you cannot get something, it's that it's talking to somebody else that will provide that information for you. And if you need any help with that, then reach out and I can put you in contact with agents, not agents, brokers that will give you that information. I use a company called DMI Finance as well, does a lot for me, and they're able to provide proof of funds. Sometimes they're able to provide a letter to say, we have dealt with this client, we are the broker, we have done many transactions, and they can provide references. So maybe if you've dealt with a broker before, to try and get a reference from them as well.
You just add to that. I've had it before when offered on a block of flats, and if you go to just a company like Crowd Property, they should be able to get you something within 24 hours. So I hope that helps.
All right, that's good. Yeah, because I'm finding that more and more now. I'm going through the bridging finance route, and I don't know if it's just me feeling this way, that because I can't quite, provide them with something that proves, I can get that finance. I feel like, they're not, taking me seriously, on that note, and just going with, other offers that have got their, agreement in principle and all of that, already sorted. So, yeah.
If it helps, I can put you in contact with a couple people as well.
Yeah, that'll be great. Thanks, Daniel.
Sammy, are you okay? Is there any other?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for that. Yeah.
That's okay. And as I say, sometimes timing is more important, or is as important if the offer was at the same price. So the timing is important. So putting your completion target dates and things like that, not overstating it, because it's going to come back and they're going to hold you to it. So all of these things are important. But let me go to Nadine's question, and I'll give you an example that this happened very recently. So Nadine, good evening. I can't hear you at the moment.
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Great. I hope everyone's keeping well. So I've got a property that I'm looking to flip that we've renovated, and we're speaking to 3 agents right now. And I wanted to ask, apart from the obvious marketing, what are the extra activities that an agent could do to really push this property and get more people through the door to view it? Because I'm trying to work out how to really prioritize choose one of the 3 agents. So based on your experience, what could you suggest that the agent could do to basically show that they're more proactive than the other agents?
So there'll always be a market leader in the town, and they're a market leader because they've got more stock. So if you're looking on Rightmove, and we on a lettings front, it was very similar. We got a lot of lettings business because we had the most stock on Rightmove. It didn't mean that we were the best agent, as in they didn't have a classic. What they said, that we were the `1 agent. Customers may have thought that we were the best agent, but what it meant is that we had the most stock. Now, I have my own properties, as you know. So if I'm marketing my own properties plus other landlord properties, which meant that I had, 11 properties on the portal at the time. But over a 2-year period, we were the #1 agent, which meant that other people think, right, okay, they must be busy, so we are going to go and give our property to them. So it then continues. So in your situation, I think you're looking for an agent that's busy, because they've got a buzz, they've got people coming through their door, they've got certain systems in place. I think you're looking for the market leader. It's finding out the market leader in that town, and then trying to target them. I think when we spoke, I think I mentioned, and I believe this strongly, that the estate agent business is changing every day. We see that banks have gone, but we spend between £4,000 and £5,000 on portals, Rightmove, Super, Prime Location, On the Market, our own website, all website portal based. We get more business from the for sale boards outside. We get more business from social media, and there's been stories where people are selling £1 million properties as a result of Facebook. I say people are selling £1 million properties because of Facebook, and then I just remembered that I have used an agent recently, and he's a land agent, to sell some land at 1.475, and the figure's impressive, not because of what it is, it's because what Sam has done is he's marketed our property on LinkedIn, and he's a land agent. He's not on the portals, but he's on LinkedIn, and he found our buyer, and he actually found a buyer for another piece of land as well. So I think the estate agency, in my opinion, is going to change. I think it's going to be more on social media, and etc. Will the portal still be important? Yeah, for a period of time, but I think they're over a 10-year period. I think it will dramatically change, as also the the generation changes. We're in the right move Zoopla generation. If you look at some of the people that are coming out of school, when they come to buy, sell properties, 10 years time, 28, 30, they're not going to be used to the portals. They're more used to social media. They talk on social media. They do this on social media. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I know that our estate agency business is changing, and we're like going, what can we do to make sure that we are ahead of the trend, I suppose. But I think looking in your situation, looking for the best agent, looking for somebody who sold a similar property, see if they hadn't had somebody else underneath that didn't quite get that property, but they're looking for so that they may have a database of somebody who's missed out, etc. So certainly social media is very strong as well. But the property I saw that you showed was absolutely fantastic in terms of the standard, and I think their marketing was very good. So how do you beat that? I think that's what the question is. Ask the agent what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Agent,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I will. I'm writing out a set of questions that I'll be asking each agent, and I'm going to find out which one of them is going to be the most motivated, and they'll have a window of time to sell the property. And I'm expecting a little bit more than just putting a sign out and advertising on the portals. What the extra things they got to do, because I think it's a challenging market, and those who go the extra mile, the extra steps, are more likely to secure the deal. So. Yeah, I'll keep you posted on progress.
Please do, because it's like when we go out and we're valuing a property, we're also saying, well, I'm going to put your property onto the portals, etc. But as an agent, what would you like? What can I do for you that's going to be more than another agent? And they come back with all sorts of things like, that agent wasn't prepared to do viewings out of hours. We've had instances where they've gone round and said, oh, could you just go and the vendor will do the viewing for you? I had a landlord who came to see me and he said, oh, the agent he was selling his own property and he'd gone to see the agent and he says that I'm paying you a large fee. It was £10,000 fee. But he says you sent the purchaser around to look at my property, which was on at 600 grand. My parents were there and you're expecting my parents to show them around. Well, so that means my parents were better at doing the job than you are. So yeah, we if they don't have that, will you do accompanied viewings? In your situation, the property is vacant, so that's always going to happen. But will they do accompanied viewings? Will they do block viewings?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's shocking that they expect the vendor's parents to show the potential buyers around. Yeah, that's shocking.
Yeah, the landlord actually said, he said, I employed you as the agent because I thought you were going to be better than me, but you're thinking that my parents are better than what you're doing. So there we are. Are there any other? Thank you, Nadeem. It's good to see you. Any other questions?
Not from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any general other questions from anybody?
Just a quick one to follow on from that point, Sunil. Is there some sort of website which ranks the agents based upon how many sales in each area?
Yes, the Rightmove, Zoopla, they all produce a report to us to see what our competitor is. I think you're asking from your point of view. I'm sure there is. I don't know. I think that there are websites that go, know the agent or something like that. But we get information on the back of our portals to say that, we are one agent or we're the second agent or etc. And how many agents there are in the town or the postcode that we're operating in. And that information is useful because you can actually take it out to somebody and say that this is our, Rightmove is saying that we're the number one agent and this etc. It means that our tenants may have turned over quicker rather than them not moving out. So it is how you interpret that information, isn't it? So if there's no other questions, then I'll come back to just one final story. Going once, twice. No other questions. So, as I said, we're selling some land down in Sandgate, and we have a purchaser, but the land agent that I've been dealing with, he actually got another person that was interested in purchasing, and he kept on saying to me, look, have a chat with him just in case your current purchaser doesn't complete. Have a chat with him. So I said to him, okay, let me have a Zoom call. So I had a Zoom call with these two gentlemen one morning, and they knew that I'd agreed a price, that the transaction was agreed, etc. And they came on the call, and the gentleman, the two people, one of the gentlemen was he was clearly the builder, and the negotiation didn't start with, or the relationship on the Zoom call didn't start with, can we just get to know each other? How did you acquire this land? Why are you selling? They didn't ask me any questions about the project, the land, and anything like that. He went in straight away and said, so you must be in a desperate situation. The market has dropped, hasn't it? Interest rates have gone up, build costs have gone up. And he painted this picture, and he said, with that, we're going to offer you this, which was 100 grand less than the other guy. So, well, you're not even hitting the mark of this situation. The guy, we have an agreed transaction at the asking price, you're offering 100 grand less. I don't know where the numbers come from, because the GDV on this is very good, and we know that if you get another architect, you could add 3 more units on there, giving a total GDV of 10 million. So you're clearly phoning me because there's margin in this property, but you must be at the right price. So they increased a little bit, but he basically at that moment in time, I thought this is going to be a problem, because you're going to come back and negotiate later. You're trying to tell me that I'm in a situation. So I don't think he read the situation in it. I think part of it got my back up, and I just said to them, no, I'm going to stick with the current purchaser. And they keep calling, and they called up today as well. How have they pulled out, etc. I don't think I'd sell to him, and that's not me being arrogant. I just think that it's reading the situation, getting the correct information, and then negotiating the deal where everybody is in a happy situation. That's my personal experience, that I didn't want to. It didn't feel right to me, so I didn't continue, and I won't continue with it. I'm sure their money's good. I'm sure that everything was, but what I found hard to believe is that if you're holding a piece of land of that value, you must have acquired it somehow. And if you're able to do that, why would he assume that it's a fire sale? Because it wasn't. But that's where he came from. He didn't ask me all the right questions. And I think the point I'm trying to make is building the rapport, asking all the right questions at the beginning before you start negotiating. So I hope that makes sense. Any other questions before we finish for this evening? Or
Hi, Sandil.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. You?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good to see you.
Okay, thank you. Likewise. Just wanted to share my recent experience, which concurs with what you've put on your screen, and that's the importance of putting your offer to the agent in a very, very positive light. I'm currently helping out my brother to purchase a property for himself, not an investment property, a home, if you like. And we saw a property a few weeks ago, and we put an offer on it. And then we found out through the agents that we were actually in this race with 2 other bidders. And we did exactly what you've suggested here. Because my brother is in a chain-free sort of situation, and he has a hefty deposit. And I asked him to put that in writing, in black and white, with his solicitor's details. And he had obtained, by this point, his mortgage in principle from his broker. So we basically packaged that all in a sort of email format, and we sent it to the agent. And surprise, surprise, we went over the asking price. We had to, because we were up against 2 other bidders. And the agent came back to us 2 weeks ago to say that we've got we basically got the deal, even though our final bid was exactly the same as the bid put forward by one of the other bidders. And the only reason that the agent and the seller had selected my brother is because of the size of his deposit. Secondly, because of the fact that he's chain free and there is nothing to sell. So what you've said here is a spot on, basically, because that's exactly what we experienced, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely, Karen, and thank you for sharing that, because it's a live example, and I say I'll do this, but you've actually given us experience, which is great.
Kind of excited to see what the result is.
I was going to say that. Let me just try.
No, definitely not.
So yeah, what you're saying there in terms of the experience is absolutely great. It's we as the purchaser have to give the story, the facts, to the agent, who's then going to play Chinese whispers with the owner. So if you give them a little information or no information, they're going to make it up, because they're going to have to tell the owner something. But if you give them lots of information, you give them proof, you make their job easier, you make it, so easy that they can't say no, because the real person that's buying, the real person that's there is the agent who's going to present your offer, and how they present that offer is how the owner will accept it. So if they put that offer forward, the owner may say, well, what do you think? Would you think that's a good offer? You go, well, yeah, this is, I've seen proof of funds, I've seen this, as you say, Karen, we've seen everything there. They can complete quickly, they don't have a chain. So you've got to give them all the facts to be able to tell the story to the owner of the property, because husband and wife, if it's husband and wife situation, they're going to go and discuss it, and they're going to discuss what they've been told. And again, that's going to be key. So yeah, any other questions from anyone just before we close this evening? Hope it's been of some value. Okay, so thank you. We have a website as well called UK Land Investors, which is one of our companies. And UK Land Investors has 4 options, or 3 or 4 options on there, of how we can work together. So if you go onto that website, uklandinvestors.co.uk, it will show you that if you have a project, we can help you with, if it's a development project. If you have funds that you want to invest and you're looking for a return, either in the company or as an individual project, if it's education, if it's consultancy, if it's working together, there's some options. If you want to have a look at that, then please feel free to do so. I have three projects at the moment that we are going to send out to people next week that we are looking to sell. And if you come across somebody who wants to buy them, we're happy to pay a commission to you. So these are projects from UK Land Investors. One is 8 units and a micro pub. Then we've got 28 units and a shop. And we've got land with planning permission, a bungalow, and some land that can be developed. So yeah, they've all got planning permissions on there. And so if anybody comes across anybody that was looking for projects, you make us the contact, the deal goes through, we pay a commission on there as well. So if you have properties that you want to sell, come and have a chat and we'll see what we can do, depending if it's which area it is. But thank you for your time this evening, and I'll look forward to seeing you very soon. Take care.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Sunil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ricky. Thanks for your input. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Take care.
Thanks, Sunil. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Cheers.
Thanks, Sunil.
Take care.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to see
Bye
you.
bye.